Imagine this. You wake up one morning feeling calm and peaceful, but as the day goes on, someone says something that hurts you deeply. You feel that hot, burning anger rising inside. It grows so fast that it feels like it will explode. How often have you felt this? How many times has anger taken over your mind and ruined your day? Now think about this. What if you could stop that anger from even starting? What if you could meet those moments with calmness instead of fury? Would your life feel lighter, happier, and more peaceful? Imagine never losing your temper again. What kind of freedom would that bring? Here's a simple example. Picture a pot boiling on a stove. The longer the heat stays on, the more the water bubbles and spills over. But if you turn off the heat, the water calms down. Anger is like that boiling water. It's our mind's heat that makes it rise. What if you could turn off that heat before the anger boils over? Welcome to Wisdom Woven. Here, we explore timeless wisdom and practical ways to live better, calmer lives. This series will show you how Buddhist teachings help us understand anger and how to free ourselves from it. If you want to learn how to never get angry again, you're in the right place. Before we begin, please like this video if you find it helpful. Comment below and share your own experiences with anger. Sharing this video with friends and family could help someone find peace too. And don't forget to subscribe to Wisdom Woven for more insights that can truly change your life. Your thoughts matter. Please drop them down in the comments and let's learn together. Anger is natural, but it does not have to control us. In Buddhism, anger is seen as one of the 3 poisons that cause suffering. It clouds our mind, makes us see the world in a harsh light, and often leads to regret later. But understanding anger is the first step to healing. When anger arises, it is often because we feel hurt, threatened, or frustrated. We think we need to defend ourselves or get justice. But this reaction usually makes things worse. Holding on to anger is like holding a hot coal. It burns us more than anyone else. Buddha taught that mindfulness is the key. By watching our feelings without judgment, we can see anger clearly and choose how to respond. It's like watching a storm pass instead of getting swept away by it. In the coming parts of this series, we will explore how to recognize anger's roots, how to practice patience, and how to bring kindness into difficult moments. This journey will take time, but every step leads to more peace and freedom. Remember, this is not about denying your feelings, but learning to transform them. Anger is just one part of our experience. It does not have to define who we are. Thank you for being here with Wisdom Woven. Let's take this path together and never get angry again. Imagine anger as a fire burning inside you. This fire is not born from the world outside, but from something deep within. It starts small, like a spark, but if left unchecked, it can grow and spread, consuming your peace, your joy, even your health. In the quiet moments, the fire is just a flicker. But when something irritates you, the wind blows and the flame roars. It might be a careless word from a friend, a mistake someone made, or a situation that does not go your way. Suddenly, you feel the heat rising. Your heart beats faster. Your thoughts turn sharp like arrows. This fire, this anger is natural. Even the Buddha faced it. But the true question is, how do we relate to this fire? Do we feed it with our attention and let it burn us? Or do we learn to cool it down, to put it out before it causes harm? In life, many carry this fire inside them for years. They believe anger gives power, that it helps them stand up or protect themselves. But in truth, anger is a poison that slowly destroys the container that holds it, the mind and body. Think about a tree in a forest. When a small fire starts, it can be put out quickly with water. But if the fire spreads, it can burn the entire forest. Anger is like that fire in our inner forest. If we tend to it early, we save ourselves from great suffering. The body feels the fire too. Anger tightens the muscles, makes the breath shallow, and sends adrenaline rushing. It can raise blood pressure and cause pain. Over time, living with anger can lead to illness. The mind also suffers, clouded by harsh thoughts and bitterness. So, this fire inside us is dangerous. But the fire also tells us something important. It shows us where we have pain or fear. Often, anger is a mask for deeper feelings we avoid. It might hide sadness, disappointment, or a sense of being powerless. In the calm of meditation, when you watch your breath, you may notice this fire flicker. Sometimes it flares up, sometimes it dies down. What is important is not to push it away or chase it. Instead, observe it gently, as if you were watching a candle flame. Notice the color of the flame, the movement, the heat. The Buddha taught that anger arises from attachment. When things don't go as we want, or when others act differently than we expect, we cling to how we believe things should be. This clinging creates resistance, and resistance causes anger. But the world is always changing. No situation stays the same. When we accept this truth deeply, anger loses its power. It cannot burn when there is no dry wood to feed it. In your daily life, when you feel the fire starting, pause. Take a slow breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Remind yourself that this feeling is temporary, like a storm passing through. It will not last forever. Try to ask yourself gently, what is this anger really about? Often it points to unmet needs, boundaries crossed, or old wounds reopened. By facing these with kindness instead of force, the fire dims. You may wonder, is it weak to let go of anger? The answer is no. It takes great strength to remain calm and clear when others try to provoke you. This strength comes not from fighting the fire, but from understanding it. A wise person does not try to control others through anger. Instead, they control themselves by choosing peace. This choice is freedom. The practice of mindfulness is a lantern in the dark. When anger arises, shining this light on it reveals its nature. You see that anger is made of thoughts, feelings, and sensations. None of these are permanent or solid. They come and go like clouds in the sky. When you realize this, anger becomes less frightening. You no longer believe it has to rule your mind. You learn to watch it without being swept away. Sometimes, when the fire is strong, you may want to express your anger. This is natural, but expressing anger wisely means doing so without harm to yourself or others. Speak calmly. Use words that explain your feelings, not attack. Remember that people often act from their own suffering. Their harshness may not be about you, but about their own pain. Seeing this can soften your heart and reduce anger's hold. Each time you meet anger with awareness and patience, you build a new habit. Like watering a plant daily, this habit grows stronger. Over time, the fire loses its fuel and cools down. In this way, anger stops being a storm that destroys and becomes a teacher that guides. It teaches us about our fears, our attachments, and our need for compassion. A peaceful mind is not one without feelings, but one that understands them deeply. When you practice this, your life will change. You will find yourself responding with calm rather than reacting with anger. The path is not easy, and it takes time. Be gentle with yourself. When anger arises, greet it like an old friend who needs your attention, not your battle. Through this understanding, the fire inside you becomes smaller. The forest of your mind stays green and alive. You find freedom, not by escaping anger, but by transforming it. And so, the Zen master says, look deeply within. The fire is not your enemy. It is a signpost pointing to where you need healing. Approach it with curiosity and kindness. In this way, anger will no longer control you. You will move through life with steady calm and open heart. The journey continues. Imagine, for a moment, that life is like the wind. The wind does not ask for permission. It moves freely, without control. It bends the trees, carries the clouds, and changes the seasons. We, like the wind, are part of this great flow. Yet, how often do we try to hold on to things tightly, hoping they will stay just as we want? We try to control people, events, and outcomes as if life belongs to us. But in truth, life is not ours to command. This desire to control, to fix everything perfectly, is the root of much of our anger and frustration. When things don't go as we planned, when others don't behave how we expect, anger rises like a storm inside us. The Zen way teaches us that this is an illusion, the illusion of control. We grasp at the world, trying to hold it still, but it keeps moving, changing. Think about a river flowing toward the sea. If you try to stop the water with your hands, the water slips through, no matter how hard you try. You may even hurt yourself in the process. But if you let the river flow, you feel its power, its life, its grace. To live without anger, we must learn to let go of the false belief that we can control everything around us. Expectations are the cause of this struggle. We expect people to act a certain way. We expect situations to turn out as we desire. When reality does not meet these expectations, we feel upset, disappointed, and angry. Yet, the world is not made for our expectations. It simply is. The sky does not care if it rains or shines. The sun does not ask if we want it hot or cool. It just shines. When you hold onto expectations tightly, you build a cage around your heart. The cage is made of rigid thoughts and harsh judgments. Anger is the loud cry from inside that cage. But the cage is of your own making. You have the key. You can open the door and step outside. To release this cage, begin with awareness. Notice when you're expecting something. Are you hoping your friend will behave differently? Are you demanding your family respect your wishes exactly? Are you telling yourself the day should unfold in a certain way? This awareness is the first step. Next, breathe deeply and remind yourself, I cannot control everything. Life flows as it will. This is not giving up. It is accepting the truth. Acceptance does not mean weakness. It means strength to face reality without resistance. When we resist life, we create suffering. When we accept it, we find peace. This does not mean being passive or careless. It means responding to each moment with calmness and wisdom rather than anger. Consider the bamboo tree in a storm. It bends with the wind. It does not break. This is the way of letting go. When you let go of control, you become flexible, resilient, and calm. Anger loses its grip. This path is not easy. Our minds want certainty. They want to predict and control the future. But the future is like a cloud that changes shape and moves with the wind. Clinging to certainty causes pain. Try this simple exercise. When you feel anger rising, pause and ask yourself, what am I trying to control right now? Name it quietly in your mind. Then say, I will let go of this need. I will accept what is. You might feel discomfort. That is normal. Like muscles stretching, your mind needs time to learn a new way. Keep practicing. Each time you release control, your heart feels lighter. In Buddhism, this is the practice of non-attachment. It is not about giving up joy or love. It is about loving without needing to own or fix. It is about being present with what is, not what you wish it to be. The more you practice letting go of control, the less anger will visit your mind. You will find yourself responding with patience and kindness, even in difficult situations. Life will still bring challenges. People will still disappoint you. But your peace will not be shaken so easily. You will be like the calm lake that reflects the sky, even when the wind blows. Remember, anger arises when the river of life meets the dam of expectation. Remove the dam, and the water flows freely. Your mind flows freely. Your heart flows freely. The freedom from anger is not something outside you. It is already inside. It is your true nature, waiting for you to discover. Trust this process. Trust yourself. When you let go, you gain everything. Imagine a mind that rushes like a wild river, uncontrolled and wild. When anger rises, it feels like that river bursting its banks, sweeping everything away in its path. The mind is like water, calm and clear when still, but chaotic and dangerous when stirred by strong winds. This is the way of the impulsive mind. It acts before it thinks. It reacts before it understands. In our daily life, we often do not realize how quickly anger takes over. A harsh word, a small insult, or a moment of frustration can cause our mind to leap to conclusions and fire off reactions. This impulsive nature of the mind is like a flame that grows bigger with every breath we take. But the flame can be put out, not by fighting it with fire, but by removing the oxygen it feeds on. Buddhism teaches us the art of mindfulness, to bring gentle, careful attention to each moment. Mindfulness is not something far away or difficult to practice. It is the simple act of noticing what is happening inside and outside us without rushing to judge or react. When anger arises, the first step is to pause, not to push the anger away, nor to dive into it, but to watch it as if it were a cloud passing across the sky. The sky itself does not change because of the cloud, and neither does the true mind change because of the anger. This awareness creates space, a small but powerful space, between the feeling and the reaction. In that space, a choice appears. We can follow the impulse to lash out or hold a grudge, or we can breathe deeply, acknowledge the anger, and allow it to settle. This choice is the beginning of freedom. Many times, the mind acts like a frightened child who wants to run away or scream when faced with pain or discomfort. This is natural, but the Zen way is to become the calm parent inside ourselves. The parent who listens, understands, and guides the child without harshness or fear. This does not mean suppressing anger or pretending it does not exist. That would be like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The ball will pop back up with even more force. Instead, mindfulness asks us to let the anger come fully into awareness, to meet it with kindness and curiosity. Ask yourself, what is this feeling really? Where does it live in my body? What thoughts are dancing with it? Sometimes anger hides pain, disappointment, or fear. By gently exploring these layers, the anger begins to lose its power. Mindfulness also teaches us to watch the stories our mind tells. When anger flares, the mind often builds a story around the event. They meant to hurt me. This is unfair. I must defend myself. These stories are like storms in the mind, making the anger grow bigger. But with mindfulness, we learn to see these stories as passing thoughts, not as absolute truths. The mind is like a great ocean, vast and deep. Waves come and go, but the ocean remains. Anger is just one wave. By watching it with calm attention, we learn not to be swept away. When we practice mindfulness regularly, even in small moments, we strengthen our ability to pause and choose peace. The mind becomes less reactive and more responsive. Like a skilled sailor who can steer a ship through stormy seas, we learn to navigate difficult emotions with wisdom and grace. There is a simple breathing exercise taught by the Buddha that can help when anger rises. It is called calming the breath. When you feel anger growing, gently bring your attention to your breath. Notice the in-breath and the out-breath. Feel the coolness as air enters your nostrils and the warmth as it leaves. Let your breath become slower and deeper. This focus on the breath brings you back to the present moment. Anger often lives in the past or the future, memories of hurt or worries about what might happen. The breath anchors you in the now, where peace is always available. It is important to remember that mindfulness is a practice, not a quick fix. The mind is very strong and old habits die slowly. But each time you choose to pause, to watch, and to breathe, you build strength. The river slows. The wild ways calm. The Zen masters say, when you meet anger, do not meet it with anger. Instead, meet it with awareness. This does not mean being passive or weak. It means being wise and brave. In the moments when you feel anger welling up, try to step back and become an observer. Imagine yourself as a calm lake, reflecting the sky above. The wind may ripple the surface, but deep below, the water remains still. This practice of mindfulness does not only help with anger. It brings clarity to all of life. When we are mindful, we see things as they truly are, not as our fears or desires make them out to be. Slowly, with patience, anger loses its grip. It no longer controls your thoughts, words, or actions. You become the master of your mind, not its servant. When the mind is calm, happiness and kindness naturally arise. You begin to see others with compassion instead of judgment. Relationships improve because you're no longer reacting from pain or fear. Remember, this is not about being perfect or never feeling anger. It is about learning to dance with anger rather than being crushed by it. Like a gardener tending a delicate flower, you care for your mind gently and consistently. Mindfulness is the water and sunlight that helps peace bloom. Each day, you have many chances to practice. When you feel irritation in a conversation, when traffic delays you, when someone disappoints you, these are the moments to pause and breathe. The path of mindfulness is the path of freedom. It is the path of the Buddha, who taught that true peace comes from within. So, let your mind settle like a still pond. Let your breath guide you home to yourself. And remember, the wild river of anger can always be calmed by the steady hand of awareness. In this calm, you will find not only the end of anger, but the beginning of deep joy and lasting peace. Imagine a heart filled with fire. Anger burns fiercely, and the mind becomes clouded by its smoke. The world shrinks to the size of that anger, and everything else fades away. In such moments, it feels impossible to find peace. Yet within the very nature of our being lies a powerful remedy: compassion. Compassion is not just a gentle feeling or a nice idea. It is a force that transforms the hardest emotions into soft understanding. The Buddha taught us that compassion is like a cool rain that extinguishes the fire of anger. When we allow compassion to grow inside, anger loses its strength and begins to dissolve. Many believe that anger must be fought with anger, or that showing kindness when we are angry is weakness. But this is far from a truth. Compassion requires great strength. It takes courage to open one's heart when it feels threatened. This courage is the path to true freedom. When anger arises, it usually hides pain beneath its surface. Someone's harsh words might strike a wound from long ago, or a sudden frustration might awaken fears of not being valued or respected. In these moments, anger is the loud cry of suffering, asking to be heard. To respond with compassion means to listen deeply, not only to others but to ourselves. It means recognizing that behind anger is a vulnerable being who longs for peace. This recognition softens the heart and changes the way we see the situation. The Buddha often spoke about metta, or loving kindness. Metta is a warm wish for all beings to be happy and free from suffering. When we cultivate metta, we practice seeing others as we wish to be seen, with kindness, patience, and acceptance. This practice begins with ourselves. It is impossible to offer true compassion to others if we cannot first offer it to our own pain. When anger rises, rather than pushing it away or judging ourselves for feeling it, we learn to hold it gently. We say to ourselves, "I see your pain. I am here for you." This simple act of self-compassion begins to heal the wounds that anger feeds on. It creates a safe space within where the storm can calm. From this calm place, we can then extend compassion outward, even to those who have caused us harm. The Buddha reminded us that all beings want to be happy and avoid pain. Even those who make us angry are searching for peace in their own way. Understanding this does not mean accepting harmful behavior, but it helps us soften the sharp edges of anger. When we respond with compassion, we break the cycle of hatred. Anger often begets anger, creating endless conflict. Compassion interrupts this cycle by offering a different way, a way rooted in understanding and connection. It is helpful to remember a simple image. Imagine a person who has fallen into a deep pit. If we stand at the edge and throw stones in anger, the person remains trapped. But if we lower a rope with kindness and care, we offer a path to freedom. This image illustrates the power of compassion. It is a lifeline not only for others, but also for ourselves. When we choose compassion over anger, we liberate both the giver and receiver from suffering. Practicing compassion does not mean ignoring injustice or being passive. It means acting with clarity and kindness, even in difficult situations. It means holding firm boundaries without hatred. Buddhism teaches that the heart has infinite capacity. Just as the sky holds all clouds without being disturbed, our hearts can hold anger and compassion together. Over time, with practice, compassion grows stronger and anger naturally fades. One way to cultivate compassion is through meditation. In this practice, we silently repeat phrases like, "May I be happy," "May I be free from suffering." then we extend the same wishes to others, even those we find difficult. This simple repetition gently reshapes the heart. In daily life, compassion can be as simple as a smile, a kind word, or a patient breath before responding. These small acts build a foundation that supports greater peace in the face of anger. Compassion also invites us to see the interconnectedness of all things. We are not separate from those who cause us pain. Our lives are woven together like threads in a tapestry. When one thread suffers, the whole fabric feels the tension. This understanding helps dissolve the us versus them thinking that fuels anger. It softens the mind and opens the door to forgiveness, not as forgetting, but as releasing the burden that anger places on our hearts. The Buddha's own life was an example of compassion in action. He faced great challenges and opposition, but remained rooted in kindness. His teachings encourage us to follow the same path. Sometimes compassion feels distant or difficult. The fire of anger may seem too strong to calm. At these moments, patience with ourselves is essential. We must remember that change takes time, and every effort counts. Even the smallest gesture of compassion matters. Like planting a seed in the earth, it takes time to grow, but with care, it will blossom into peace. The heart's transformation begins with a choice, a moment when we decide not to fuel the fire, but to offer water. This choice is always available, no matter how deep the anger runs. Through compassion, we learn that peace is not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of understanding. It allows us to meet challenges with a clear mind and an open heart. Let us remember that anger is a visitor, not a resident. Compassion is the home where the heart finds rest. By walking this path, we not only free ourselves from suffering, but also become a beacon of calm in the world. Our lives become an offering of peace to others. In every breath, we have the opportunity to choose compassion. In every moment, we can plant a seed of kindness that will grow beyond what we can imagine. This is the Buddha's way to dissolve rage, not by fighting it, but by transforming it with the light of compassion. Ego and attachment, understanding the real triggers. Anger is often like a sudden storm, powerful, overwhelming, and destructive. But beneath that storm lies something quieter, something deeper. It is the sense of I and mine that feeds the fire. This sense is what we call the ego, and it is closely tied to attachment. When we feel angry, it is rarely just about what happened outside. It is about how we see ourselves in that moment. It is about what we believe should be, how we think things must be, and what we refuse to lose. This I that we protect so fiercely is the source of much suffering. Think for a moment about a child holding a favorite toy. If someone tries to take it away, the child cries, shouts, or even hits. The anger is clear. The child is attached to the toy. It belongs to them, and they fear losing it. This attachment creates the pain. The anger is a shield, a defense to hold on tightly. As adults, our attachments are often invisible but no less strong. We hold on to ideas of who we are, how others should treat us, what life owes us. When these ideas are challenged, anger arises like a warning signal. It is the mind's way of saying, "This threatens me. Protect what is mine." The Buddha taught us that this clinging to self and things is the root of suffering. When we grasp too tightly to anything, we create tension and pain. Anger is one of the faces of that tension. Imagine holding a handful of sand tightly. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips away through your fingers. If you relax your hand, the sand stays. Attachment works the same way. When we grasp with force, we lose peace. The ego wants to be right. It wants respect, praise, and control. When we don't get these, we feel slighted or hurt. This hurts the ego's fragile sense of self, and anger bursts out as a defense. But the ego is not the true self. It is a story we tell ourselves, a mask we wear. Behind it is a calm, spacious awareness waiting to be seen. When we recognize that our anger comes from ego's need to protect and attachments need to hold on, we open the door to freedom. This understanding is like a light in a dark room. It shows us where the real struggle lies. Try to watch your anger when it comes. Instead of pushing it away or blaming others, ask gently, what am I holding on to right now? What part of me feels threatened? Often, you'll find it is the idea of yourself or your life not being as you want. This is the ego speaking, trying to defend its ground. Buddhist practice encourages us to loosen this grip, to see the self as fluid and changeable, not fixed and unchanging. This helps anger lose its power. It is like watching a river flow. The water moves, changes shape, but it is still water. When we hold onto one shape, the river can no longer flow freely. The teachings remind us that all things are impermanent. Our thoughts, feelings, even our sense of self, are always changing. Holding on tightly only causes pain. When you realize this deeply, you begin to smile softly at anger. It becomes a teacher, a signal to look inside and release. This does not mean you do not feel anger or that you suppress it. It means you observe it with kindness and curiosity. You learn from it instead of being controlled by it. A great Zen saying is, let go or be dragged. When we hold onto ego and attachment, anger drags us into suffering. When we let go, peace follows naturally. Every moment gives us a chance to practice letting go. When you feel anger rising, take a breath. Feel the tightness in your body and mind. Acknowledge it without judgment. Then, gently remind yourself, this anger is not me. It is only a feeling, a cloud passing through the sky of my mind. As you practice this, the ego's power weakens. The attachments that cause the anger loosen their hold. You begin to see people and situations more clearly, without the filter of your own fears and desires. You become more patient, more understanding, more free. This is not a quick fix, but a lifelong journey. Some days are easier, some are harder, but every step forward brings more peace. Remember, the ego and attachment are like shadows. They seem real and scary in the dark. But when you turn on the light of awareness, they disappear. You don't have to fight anger. You don't have to run from it. You can simply see it for what it is, a message from the ego and attachment asking for attention and release. This wisdom from Buddhism invites us to be gentle with ourselves, to see anger not as an enemy, but as a part of our human experience that can teach us to grow. When you stop feeding anger with your ego's demands, you find a quiet strength inside, a stillness that no storm can shake. So, next time anger comes, remember, it is the ego's cry, the grip of attachment. Breathe, look deeply, and let it go. In this letting go, you find the true peace you have been seeking all along. The wisdom of emptiness, seeing through the self. Sit quietly with me for a moment. Breathe in deeply, then breathe out slowly. Feel the air as it moves in and out of your body. Notice how each breath comes and goes, like waves on a calm sea. This simple breath holds a secret, a truth that can change how you see anger and yourself. In life, we often think of ourselves as solid and fixed. We say, I am this or I am that. We carry many ideas about who we are, our name, our job, our history, our likes and dislikes. These thoughts feel real and heavy, like stones in a bag. But what if these stones were not really part of you? What if the self you carry is more like a cloud, changing, moving, and never truly lasting? This is the teaching of emptiness in Buddhism. Emptiness does not mean nothingness or being empty like a hollow shell. It means that everything, including ourselves, does not exist independently. Things are not fixed, not solid, not permanent. They depend on many causes and conditions, and they're always changing. When we understand this deeply, anger loses much of its power. Why? Because anger comes from a strong sense of me and mine. It arises when we feel something threatens our sense of self, our pride, our comfort, our control. But if the self is not a solid thing, if it is fluid and connected to everything else, then anger begins to dissolve. Imagine holding a handful of sand. If you squeeze it tight, the grains press against each other, and it feels solid. But if you open your hand and let the grains fall freely, they scatter and change shape. Our fixed sense of self is like that tight fist holding on too tightly to ideas and feelings. When we relax and see the self as empty, like the sand falling freely, our anger cannot hold on so strongly. This does not mean you stop caring about yourself or others. Quite the opposite. Seeing the emptiness of self opens the heart. It softens the mind. When we stop fighting to protect a rigid self-image, we become more open, more compassionate. Anger needs a wall to bounce off. When the wall is gone, anger has no place to live. Many people struggle because they identify too closely with their thoughts and emotions. When a harsh word or insult comes, the mind screams, "How dare you attack me?" But who is this me that is attacked? It is often a story we tell ourselves, a mask we wear. When we see this clearly, anger begins to lose its grip. The Zen way invites us to watch these stories and masks without getting caught in them. When anger rises, do not push it away or run from it. Instead, sit with it quietly like a calm observer. Notice how the feeling moves through the body. Maybe a tightness in the chest, heat in the face, or tension in the hands. Watch it with gentle curiosity. As you observe, remember that these feelings and thoughts are passing guests. They come and go like clouds drifting in the sky. You are not the clouds. You are the sky itself, vast, open, and unchanging. This wisdom of emptiness helps you see that anger is temporary, not who you truly are. When you carry this understanding into your daily life, situations that once made you furious become less frightening. The insult, the frustration, the hurt, they lose their sharp edges. You begin to respond with calmness and clarity instead of reaction and regret. This shift takes practice. The mind loves to cling to the idea of a strong, fixed self. It wants to protect its stories. But slowly, with patience and mindfulness, you can loosen the grip. You learn to be present with what is, without judgment or resistance. In moments of anger, pause and ask yourself, who is getting angry? What is this I that feels so threatened? Can I let go of this I for a moment and just be here now? This simple question opens a door to freedom. Emptiness also teaches us about connection. Since nothing exists alone, your life is woven into the lives of all beings. Your anger affects others just as their anger touches you. When you see the self as empty, you begin to feel this deep connection. This awareness fosters kindness and patience, even toward those who upset you. You might wonder, if the self is empty, why do I feel so real? It is true. We feel real because we experience life vividly. But the teaching is that this reality is not fixed or isolated. It flows like a river, always changing. Think of a river. Is it the same river today as it was yesterday? No. Water flows, new drops come and go. But we give it a name and imagine it as one thing. Similarly, yourself is not one solid thing, but a river of changing moments. Anger is just one wave in that river. When you grasp this, anger can be seen as a signal, not an enemy. It tells you when the mind is stuck, holding on to a false sense of self. It invites you to return to the present, to the truth of emptiness and openness. This does not mean you never feel anger again. Feelings come and go, but your relationship to anger changes. You stop feeding it with stories of victimhood or pride. Instead, you watch it come, you breathe through it, and you let it pass. This practice brings peace, not because life becomes perfect, but because you become free inside. You become the sky that holds all weather, calm and unshaken. Remember, this wisdom is not just for meditation cushions. It is for your daily life, for moments when you feel that heat of anger rising. In those moments, remember the emptiness of self and the flowing river. Let go of the tight fist. Open your hand. As the grip loosens, peace grows. Anger fades like a passing storm, and you remain steady and clear. The journey to understanding emptiness is a journey to understanding yourself deeply, beyond labels, beyond fear, beyond anger. It is a journey to freedom. Sit with this teaching. Breathe. Watch. Let the wisdom of emptiness slowly unfold in your heart. In time, you will see that anger has no true home inside you. It is just a visitor, one that can come and also go. Imagine sitting quietly, watching the world as it is, people moving, speaking, acting. Sometimes these actions touch your heart softly, and sometimes they prick you sharply. In life, the way others behave often stirs your mind, especially when they irritate or upset you. Yet, what if those moments of irritation were not about them at all? What if they were about something deeper inside you? In the quiet of a Zen garden, a master once said, "Others are our mirrors." This means when someone's words or actions anger us, it reflects something within ourselves. It is not just the other person's behavior causing the pain. It is also what lives in our heart, waiting to be seen. Anger often arises when we feel attacked, misunderstood, or hurt. But in truth, what we see in others is a reflection of our own fears, wounds, or expectations. When we learn to look gently at ourselves, the anger begins to soften. Picture a calm lake. If the water is still, the lake perfectly reflects the trees and sky. But if the wind blows hard, the surface ripples and distorts the reflection. Our mind is like that lake. When we are disturbed, we cannot see clearly. We react, often harshly, to the shadows on the surface. When someone behaves in a way that angers us, it is like a stone dropped into our lake. The ripples spread quickly, stirring up mud and confusion. But if we remain still inside, the ripples fade and the water becomes clear again. In every relationship, whether with family, friends, or strangers, patience is the key to peace. Patience is not about silently suffering or ignoring your feelings. Instead, it is about holding space for yourself and others without rushing to judgment or anger. The Buddha taught us to practice loving kindness, even towards those who challenge us. This practice begins by recognizing that all beings want happiness and wish to avoid suffering, just like we do. When we see others in this light, their faults become less sharp and our anger less urgent. A Zen story tells of a monk who was insulted by a passerby. The monk smiled and thanked the man for reminding him to be patient. This story shows us that every difficult moment is an opportunity to grow. When we respond to anger with anger, we build walls between ourselves and others. But when we respond with patience and understanding, we build bridges. It is helpful to remember that everyone is on their own path, carrying their own burdens. Sometimes, people act out of pain or confusion. Their harsh words or deeds are like cries for help, not personal attacks. When you meet anger or hurt in others, take a deep breath. Allow yourself to pause before reacting. This moment of pause is a precious gift. It gives you the chance to choose peace instead of pain. The practice of seeing others as mirrors is not easy. It asks us to look inside and face parts of ourselves we may prefer to hide, but also offers freedom. When we stop blaming others and begin to understand ourselves, our anger loses its power. Imagine now a conversation with someone who often makes you angry. Instead of reacting, you listen deeply. You ask yourself, what is this person showing me about myself? Perhaps they remind you of a fear you have or a wound not yet healed. In Buddhism, the idea of compassion goes hand in hand with wisdom. Compassion is feeling with others, understanding their struggles. Wisdom is seeing clearly what causes suffering and how to end it. Together, they help us transform anger into peace. There's a saying, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The truth is, anger harms us most of all. It clouds our mind, steals our joy, and breaks our connections. But when we practice patience and see others as mirrors, we learn forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing harm. It is about freeing ourselves from the chains of bitterness. Each day, life offers us many chances to practice this. When a loved one says something hurtful, when a colleague frustrates us, or when a stranger's actions upset us, these moments are doors to awakening. It helps to remember that patience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. At first, Patience may feel difficult or unnatural, but with time, it becomes a source of deep peace. In your relationships, try to listen more and judge less. Notice when anger rises and gently bring your attention back to your breath. This simple act calms the storm inside. By doing this, you start to change the way you see the world. People who once seemed to cause you pain become teachers in your own heart. One of the most beautiful teachings of Zen is that the present moment is all we have. If we spend it trapped in anger, we lose precious time with those we love and with ourselves. Try this. The next time anger arises because of another, close your eyes and imagine looking at that person with kindness. Imagine their struggles and hopes. This simple practice can shift your heart. As you walk this path, you will find that your relationships soften. Conversations become less about winning and more about understanding. Conflicts shrink and peace grows. Remember, the journey to peace is not about changing others, but changing how we relate to them. When we stop reacting and start responding with patience, we live more freely. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of patience and kindness, beautiful flowers will bloom. If you let anger take root, the garden becomes tangled and harsh. Each person you meet is an opportunity to practice patience and compassion. Every difficult moment is a chance to learn more about yourself and to grow. Know this: anger is not your enemy, but a teacher. It shows you where your heart needs healing. When you meet it with patience, it transforms into wisdom. In the silence of patience, anger loses its voice. In the light of compassion, bitterness fades away. So, when others push your buttons, pause. Breathe deeply. Look within and remember that they are mirrors reflecting parts of yourself waiting for care. Through this understanding, you will find freedom from anger and deeper connection with the world around you. This is the heart of the Buddhist teaching, that peace begins with ourselves, and that by embracing patience and compassion, we can transform every relationship into a source of love and joy. Walk gently on this path. With every step, anger loses power and your heart grows lighter. Let this be your practice today and every day, to see others as mirrors, to respond with patience, and to open your heart to peace. Daily practices for peace, building a calm mind step by step. Sit down gently. Let your breath come and go, just like the wind that passes through an open window. Today, I wish to talk to you not about ideas, but about daily life. Not about great teachings, but small steps. Because in truth, it is not the big changes that shape us, but the little ones we repeat every day. Many people come to me and say, "Master, I try not to get angry, but when someone speaks badly to me or ignores me, I lose control." I tell them, "You are trying in the storm. You must prepare before it comes." A calm mind is not something we suddenly have when trouble arrives. It is something we build every day, like a gardener caring for the soil before the rain. When you open your eyes in the morning, before thoughts rush in, take one deep breath and simply say to yourself, "Today, I will walk in peace." Don't force it. Just plant that seed. Even if your day becomes difficult, the seed is still there, and it grows with your attention. In Buddhist practice, we do not try to fight anger directly. We take care of the conditions that give it power. We water different seeds, seeds of patience, of understanding, of stillness. And over time, the angry seeds become weaker. This is the way. Let me share something simple. Before speaking to anyone in the morning, drink a cup of warm water slowly. Feel it. Thank it. This small act tells your body, we are not rushing. We are not fighting. We are beginning in calm. Do this every day, and your mornings will feel different. When someone speaks to you with sharp words, remember, the sharpness belongs to them, not to you. Let it pass through you like wind through bamboo. Do not grab the wind. Do not carry their anger as your burden. Say to yourself, their pain is speaking, not their heart. Throughout your day, find one quiet moment. It doesn't have to be long, even 2 minutes. Sit or stand still, close your eyes, and just breathe. Feel the ground under your feet or the chair under your body. This moment is your temple. In this temple, anger cannot live. When you eat, Eat slowly. Taste each bite. Feel the warmth of the food. In that moment, remember that many hands helped to bring this food to you. The farmer, the cook, the earth, the rain. Gratitude opens the heart. And when the heart is open, anger has no space. People think wisdom means reading many books or saying deep things. But real wisdom is living gently, is folding your clothes with care, washing your hands with attention, speaking words that do not leave wounds. One woman once told me, "But Master, I live in a noisy home. My family shouts, and I get angry even when I try not to." I said to her, "You cannot stop the noise outside, but you can lower the noise inside. Let your breath become your home. Let your smile become your reply." Anger rises fast when the body is tired or hungry. So, take care of your body. Rest when you need to. Eat when you're hungry. Do not wait until the body cries out. If you treat your body like a friend, your mind will become more peaceful too. Do not speak when you're angry. And do not listen too closely when others are angry. Let the storm pass. Then speak. Then listen. You don't need to answer every word. Silence can protect both hearts. If you feel anger rising, walk slowly. Don't run from it. Walk with it. Feel your feet touching the earth. The earth is always calm. Let that calm rise up through your steps. This is walking meditation, and it is a strong medicine. Sometimes you must speak firmly, but speak from stillness, not from fire. A firm word from peace is more powerful than 10 shouts from anger. People hear peace. They're changed by it. In the evening, look back at your day, not to judge yourself, but to learn. Ask, where did I stay calm? Where did I lose my way? Don't blame. Just notice. And promise yourself to try again tomorrow. Buddha never promised that we would never feel anger. He promised that we could understand it. And through understanding, we could be free. That freedom comes little by little, moment by moment. You do not need a special cushion or temple to practice these things. Your home is your temple. Your body is your cushion. Your breath is your teacher. The world will not become quiet for you, but you can become quiet in the world. Let your day be your practice. Let your calm be your message. Not everyone will understand your peace, but they will feel it, and they will be curious. And maybe one day they will follow your example. Do not hurry. Peace does not come by force. Let it come like the morning sun, slowly, gently, with warmth. Today, choose one of these small steps. Just one. Maybe it's breathing before reacting. Maybe it's sitting in silence for 2 minutes. Maybe it's drinking your tea slowly. Whatever it is, do it with your whole heart. And tomorrow, do it again. Over time, your anger will knock less loudly. And one day, it may not come at all. This is how we build a calm mind. Not in one day, but in every day. When the world pushes against us, anger often springs up like a sudden storm. It surprises us, sweeps us away, and leaves destruction behind. But there's another way, a path that the Buddha showed long ago. It is the way of response, not reaction. To respond means to be present, to see clearly what is happening inside and outside, and to act with wisdom rather than impulse. Imagine a calm lake. When a stone is thrown into it, the surface ripples, but the water beneath remains still. Anger is like that stone, a disturbance on the surface of our mind. If we react immediately, we are like the waves crashing wildly, losing ourselves in the chaos. But if we respond, we allow the ripples to settle, seeing the whole lake clearly before moving. To respond, instead of react, begins with the breath. When anger rises, it often feels like fire in the chest, heat in the face, tightness in the throat. This is the body's alarm system, telling us something feels wrong. The first step is to breathe deeply, slowly. Breathing brings us back to our center, back to our calm lake beneath the storm. The breath is a bridge from the mind's storm to the heart's quiet. When we focus on breathing, even just for a moment, we create a space between stimulus and action. In that space, there is choice. We are no longer prisoners to anger's command. The Buddha taught the importance of mindfulness, the clear watching of each moment. When provoked, if we watch the feeling of anger arise, without pushing it away or clinging to it, the fire begins to lose its power. We see the anger not as a part of ourselves, but as a passing cloud in the sky of our mind. When we respond, we also remember compassion. Often, anger grows because we see the other person as an enemy, as someone who must be punished. But if we look deeper, we realize that this person is also suffering, also carrying pain. Compassion does not mean accepting harm, but understanding the shared human struggle. This understanding softens the heart and cools the fire of rage. There's a famous Zen story about a monk who was insulted by a stranger. Instead of answering with anger, the monk simply bowed and said, "Thank you." The stranger was confused, and his anger began to fade. The monk's response was a mirror, reflecting peace instead of hostility. Responding with calmness changes the energy of a moment. It does not feed the fire, it puts it out. It does not add fuel to the storm, it brings the wind that clears the sky. This does not mean anger never comes again. Anger is part of the human condition, but when we practice responding, it loses its grip. It becomes a visitor, not a ruler. In daily life, when someone says something hurtful or unfair, the impulse is to snap back, to defend, to attack. But if we pause, even for a breath or two, we can choose a different path. Sometimes that path is silence, sometimes a kind word, sometimes a gentle truth spoken with calm. We learn that not every battle needs to be fought. Sometimes the greatest strength is in letting go. The Zen master does not seek to win arguments, but to keep peace within. This way of responding also heals relationships. When anger is met with calm, tension melts away. Walls of misunderstanding crumble, and connection grows. People feel heard and respected, even in disagreement. Another important lesson is patience. Patience is not passive waiting. It is active acceptance of what is, without rushing to react. Patience gives us the time to see the whole picture, not just the hurtful moment. When we respond instead of react, we train our mind like a gardener tending a delicate plant. We do not yank it harshly, but nurture it with care and attention. Over time, this garden of calm grows stronger. The Buddhist teaching on cause and effect reminds us that anger is not caused by others, but by our own mind's response. By changing our response, we change our experience. We plant seeds of peace rather than seeds of suffering. In meditation, we practice sitting with all feelings, anger, sadness, joy, without judgment. This practice teaches us that emotions are waves on the ocean of consciousness. They rise and fall, but the ocean remains vast and steady. When anger comes, the first thought might be, "I must control this." But true control comes from understanding and acceptance, not force. Trying to suppress anger only makes it stronger. Facing it with calm awareness dissolves it naturally. The Zen master teaches that anger is like a wild horse. Trying to chase it away only makes it run faster. But if we learn to sit gently on its back, to guide it with calm, it becomes a loyal companion. This guiding comes from deep listening. Listening to our own feelings, listening to the other person, listening to the silence between words. In this listening, anger loses its need to shout. There will be moments when response feels impossible, when anger floods the mind too quickly. These moments are teachers. They show us where our practice is weak and where we need more patience. It is important not to judge ourselves harshly for anger. The Buddha himself was patient with his own struggles. Kindness to oneself is the soil where peace grows. When we respond with calm, we also protect our health. Anger is a poison to the body and mind, increasing stress, heart problems, and unhappiness. Responding gently is a gift to ourselves, a way to live longer and better. Imagine again that calm lake. Each time anger tries to disturb it, we choose to be the steady water beneath. The ripples come and go, but the lake remains peaceful. This practice of response transforms not just moments, but the whole life. Slowly, the mind becomes softer, the heart more open. We see others not as threats, but as fellow travelers on the path. The path is long and sometimes hard, but every step toward response is a step toward freedom. Freedom from suffering, freedom from the prison of anger. The Buddha said, Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You're the one who gets burned. Responding calmly is setting down the coal and choosing peace instead. Remember, this is not weakness, but great strength. The strength to be peaceful even when the world is not. Let us walk this path with courage and kindness. Let us practice response, not reaction. Let us meet every moment with a clear, calm heart. This is the way of the Buddha, the way of Zen, the way to never be controlled by anger again. Imagine for a moment the quietness of the early morning before the world awakens. The air is still. The earth breathes softly. There is no rush, no noise, just silence. In that silence, there's a deep power. It is the power to calm the mind, to heal the heart, and to see things as they truly are. Most of us live in a world filled with noise from outside and noise within. Our minds chatter endlessly, worries and anger clamor for attention. When anger rises, it is often like a storm shouting loud and fierce inside us. But in silence, the storm loses its voice. It cannot roar as it does in noise. The Buddha often taught that peace comes not from chasing after things, but from resting in stillness. When we learn to sit quietly, to listen deeply, we find a space where anger cannot hold us. Silence is not empty. It is full of presence, full of life. You may wonder, how can silence help when anger is so strong? When someone hurts us or when life seems unfair, how does being quiet stop the fire inside? The answer is simple but profound. Anger needs fuel. It grows when we feed it with more thoughts, judgments, and reactions. Silence takes away that fuel. It creates a space where anger cannot grow. In silence, the mind can look clearly at what is happening without adding heat or poison. In Zen, silence is like water. When water is calm, it reflects the world perfectly. But when it is disturbed, the reflection is broken, unclear. Our minds are the same. When a mind is silent, it reflects truth clearly. When a mind is noisy, anger distorts everything. There is great strength in learning to be silent, not just in speech, but in our thoughts and emotions. This silence does not mean we ignore what hurts us. Instead, it means we do not immediately react. We pause, breathe, and allow the stillness to settle. This pause is a gift. In that moment, we find freedom. Freedom from the automatic pull of anger. Freedom to choose a different path. Many people think silence is weakness or emptiness, but it is the opposite. Silence is the strongest refuge we have. It is the power to stop the cycle of anger and suffering. When anger rises, we can practice returning to silence. This does not mean we become cold or unfeeling. It means we create a space where understanding and kindness can grow. In that space, anger loses its grip. It is like the wind. Wind can blow fiercely, but if the sky is wide and open, the wind passes quickly. Silence is that wide sky, vast, open, and steady. In your daily life, you can begin to discover this gift of silence. When you feel the first stirrings of anger, try to take a moment to be quiet inside. Do not speak, do not act immediately. Just be still, breathe deeply, and listen to the silence within. You may feel discomfort or impatience at first. That is natural. Our minds are used to reacting fast. But with practice, the silence becomes a friend, the safe place to rest. When we make silence a habit, we start to see the world differently. The small annoyances that once triggered anger lose their power. The people who upset us become less threatening. We begin to understand that anger is just a passing cloud, not the true nature of our mind. This understanding brings peace. It is not something that happens all at once, but little by little, like the soft dawn breaking the night. In Zen, there is a saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. This means that life's simple tasks continue, but our way of doing them changes. When silence becomes part of us, even the most difficult moments can be faced with calm. We carry peace inside, no matter what happens outside. Silence also connects us to something greater. In silence, we touch the stillness that is the source of all life. This stillness is always present, even when we do not notice it. By finding silence within, we find ourselves. We discover that beneath all the noise and anger, there is a calm and steady heart. This heart is not weak. It is the center of true strength. It is the place from which compassion flows. It is the home of wisdom. When we live from this place of silence and stillness, anger no longer controls us. We see clearly what is happening and respond with patience and love. The gift of silence is available to everyone. It does not require special tools or places. It only requires the willingness to stop, breathe, and listen. Try this now. Close your eyes gently. Take a deep breath in and let it go slowly. Notice the silence between breaths. Rest there for a moment. Feel the calm that arises. This simple practice, repeated often, becomes a powerful shield against anger. It softens the hardest feelings and brings peace to the busiest mind. Remember, silence is not empty. It is full of life, full of healing. It is the foundation of a heart that never burns with anger again. Through silence, we learn to be present with ourselves and others. We learn that anger is not the enemy. It is a signal, a message to be understood and transformed. So, embrace silence as your companion. Let it guide you through the storms of life. In silence, you will find the power to remain peaceful, strong, and free. And when you return from silence to the noise of the world, you will carry that calm with you. Your actions will be gentle, your words kind, and your heart open. This is the true power of silence. It changes not only our minds but the world around us. A life beyond anger, embracing the Buddha and nature within. Now, my dear friend, after walking together through the winding path of understanding anger, here we stand at the final step. This moment is not an end, but a beginning, a new way of living, free from the chains of anger. You have learned much, but the greatest lesson is this. True peace is always within you. It was never outside, never something to search for. It is your own Buddha nature, waiting quietly beneath the noise of frustration and rage. Anger is like a storm in the sky. It can darken your view and shake your heart. But storms pass. The sky remains vast, clear, and calm once again. When you realize this, anger loses its power over you. You learn to watch it as a visitor, unwelcome perhaps, but temporary and fleeting. Imagine life as a river. Sometimes the water flows gently, sometimes it rushes wildly over stones. But the river never stops. It keeps moving, finding its way around obstacles. Your mind is like that river. Anger is one of the wild waves, but the river itself remains. To be angry is natural, but to stay angry is a choice. You now understand how to choose peace. Remember, the Buddha did not say, never feel anger. He taught us to see it clearly, to understand it deeply, and to transform it with wisdom and compassion. When anger arises, don't fight it or deny it. Instead, welcome it with a gentle awareness. Say quietly to yourself, I see you, anger. I know you are here. This simple act takes away its strength. You have learned that anger often grows from our attachments, our desire for things to be different than they are. When life does not match our wishes, frustration blooms. But when you accept the present moment, just as it is, anger has no place to grow. Acceptance does not mean giving up or being weak. It means seeing clearly and responding wisely. In your journey, patience has been a faithful friend. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active strength. It is the calm courage to remain steady in the face of difficulty. When you practice patience, you allow space for understanding and kindness to arise. These qualities heal wounds that anger only makes deeper. Look deeply at the people around you, the ones who sometimes trigger your anger. Behind their actions, there are often fears, pain, or confusion. When you realize this, your heart softens. You begin to see them not as enemies, but as fellow travelers, imperfect and trying their best. This understanding dissolves the walls anger builds between you. You have also learned the power of silence and stillness. When a mind is quiet, you can hear the gentle voice of wisdom inside. This voice reminds you that anger is only one part of your experience. It teaches you to choose peace over turmoil, love over hate. As you breathe in, feel calmness fill your body. As you breathe out, release the tension that anger brings. This simple breathing is a practice you carry with you always. It anchors you to the present, where anger cannot hold sway. Do not be discouraged if anger returns sometimes. Like the waves, it will come and go. What matters is how you meet it. Each time you choose calmness, you grow stronger. Each moment of peace is a victory over old habits. You are no longer a slave to your emotions. You are the master of your mind. This freedom is the true treasure that Buddhist wisdom offers. It is available to all who walk this path with sincerity and patience. Now, as this journey ends, I invite you to look inward with kindness. Celebrate how far you have come. The very fact that you seek to change shows a brave heart. You are planting seeds of peace that will blossom throughout your life. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You took that step, and every step forward is a step toward a life free from anger's grip. Walk gently on this path. When challenges arise, and they will, return to your breath, your mindfulness, and your compassion. These are your tools, your friends, your refuge. Never forget, within you lies the Buddha nature, the deep, calm, unshakable peace that no storm can disturb. This nature is your true self. It shines brightest when you let go of anger and open your heart to love and understanding. Thank you for walking this path with wisdom woven. If this journey has touched your heart, please take a moment now to like this video. Share it with others who may be seeking peace. Comment below and share your thoughts or your own experience with anger and transformation. Subscribe to our channel to continue exploring wisdom that lights the way through life's challenges. May you live every day in calmness and joy. May your heart be free from the fires of anger. May you embrace your true nature, peaceful, loving, and wise. The journey is yours. The peace is yours. And the freedom to never get angry again is yours.